Happy New Year, everybody. At the beginning of every new year, we already know that we all like to make ourselves our own little resolution for the rest of the year. Now, in today's episode, I'm going to be making a New Year's resolution for every single player on the Pistons roster for how they finish this NBA season. Stay tuned for it in today's episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I'm your host, Kuka Hill. You can find me over on Twitter at Kuka Hill. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, hit that subscribe button, or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this on. And today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. That's PrizePicks.com. Use promo code Locked On. So again, Happy New Year to all of you guys. I hope you guys, enjoyed, if you guys went out and, had some fun on New Year's, or if you had it with some family and some friends, whatever. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm recording this a little bit before the Pistons game against the Portland Trail Blazers, which is at 10 p.m. Eastern time. This episode will not be talking about that game. When you guys listen to it, that game will be over. It's too late of a game. I'd be up at like 1 o'clock in the morning recording. I got work in the morning. Can't be doing that. So the next podcast, we will be reviewing that game. But this one, I wanted to give you guys a New Year's resolution podcast. So I'm going to be going through the entire roster. I'm going to be making a New Year's resolution for each player, things that either they need to, they are some goals for the rest of this season, some things that they need to change for the rest of this season, some things they need to continue doing the rest of the season, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to do that. So before I even get into mine for these players, go in the comment section down below or over on Twitter at Kuka Hill and tweet me what your guys' New Year's resolution for yourselves are, but also for the Pistons. And maybe if you want to do individual players like I'm doing, tweet me that, or again, in the comment section down below. Love to see what you guys got going. But like I said, I got every single player written down here. So let's get it going. So the first player is going to be Cade Cunningham. I think Cade Cunningham's is very easy, very simple. Cade, get 100% healthy and back ready for the next season. All that matters with Cade Cunningham right now is that he recovers well from this surgery that he had on his shin, this stress fracture that he's dealing with. Just, chill, recover, get back to 100%, be ready by training camp, be ready for, heck, Troy Weaver said that he should be ready after the season to get into his offseason program. So just get healthy, relax, don't do nothing too extraneous, don't do nothing crazy. Just get ready for after the season so you can have a full offseason to get better, work on things, and be ready for training camp so you don't have to deal with another beginning of the season injury. Now, this has happened the first 2 years of his career. Hopefully going into his third year now that he's had this surgery, he's going to have a whole offseason to get healthy and work. He can go into his third season completely ready to play and not have to be hampered by an early injury in his season like he has the first 2 years. So that's Cade's New Year's resolution from me. The next player I want to talk about is Jaden Ivey. Ivy's is so I've tried to be a little bit creative with some of these, and some of them you're going to see I had a little fun with. So I tried to be a little bit creative, not just, shoot better from this, shoot better from that. With Ivy, his New Year's resolution for me is earn the coaching staff's trust to be able to close games for the rest of the year. Now, look, I know this has been a very heated topic amongst you guys. I've seen you guys spazzing in the comments. You guys, it's been a civil war amongst Pistons fans about whether Ivy should be closing these games or whether he deserves to be on the bench. The matter of the fact is, whether you think he should be in the game, whether you think Dwayne Casey's right putting him on the bench, the reason why he's been getting put on the bench in the closing games, and at the end of games, I should say, is because he's not playing defense and he's not gaining the coaching staff's trust that he's going to play A, defense, or B, make the right decisions offensively in close games at the end. That's why he isn't closing games. Now, I know a lot of you guys' arguments will be, well, we're not trying to win games this year anyways. Why not just give him the experience? Look, I'm not the coach. You're not the coach. None of us are the coach. Dwayne Casey is, and Dwayne Casey has exhibited. If you're not going to play well, and if you're not going to give him a reason to trust you down the line of close games, he will not close you simply because you're young. So Jaden Ivey's New Year's resolution for the rest of this year is to earn Dwayne Casey's trust, either by being more consistent defensively, paying attention defensively, completing the right rotations defensively, staying in front of your man, or simply playing the right way offensively and not playing a little too fast, turning the ball over, whatever you got to do. Earn Dwayne Casey's trust so Pistons fans can see you at the end of fourth quarters in close games. That is Jaden Ivey's New Year's resolution from me. Next player we're going to talk about is Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren's New Year's resolution from me is continue to improve in drop coverage. Now, we've seen the Pistons, opposed to last year where you saw them just play switch defense the entire year. This year, they went with a lot more drop coverage now they got Duren at the 5, which I'm a big fan of. I was not a fan of just simply switching every single thing, no matter what. I didn't like it. But they've been playing drop a little bit more. Actually, not a little bit, quite a bit more with Jalen Duren. And it's had some mixed results. Duren has not been very good in the drop coverage. He's had some really good highlights. He's had some really good reps that show you, yep, this is the right strategy for him to play. Eventually, he's going to get there. And if he can continue to play eventually can he get to, what these highlights are showing in these specific plays, he can be lights out in this drop coverage. He can be a lights out defender. But still, he's a rookie. He has a lot of lapses. He makes mistakes in the drop coverage a lot. And he's not a very good drop coverage defender at all right now, which is fine. But the whole goal of his rookie season is not to become a great drop coverage defender immediately. It's to simply get better than when you were a game ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, 2 months ago, beginning of the year. And I think he has. I think he's a much better defender than he was at the beginning of the year. Still not a good one in drop coverage, but he's better than he was at the beginning of the year. So looking back at the end of this season, I want him to be able to say, hey, on January 1st, when Koo made this New Year's resolution for me, I am a better defender in the drop coverage right now than I was on January 1st. That's the New Year's resolution I have for Jalen Duren. And then the final one of the first segment, and again, I want to hear from you guys. Tweet at me at Kuka Hill or comment down below what your guys' New Year's resolutions would be for this team and for these individual players. But this one is the fun one. This one was the first fun one I had with, and then we'll move on to the next segment. This one's for Bojan Bogdanovic. And the only New Year's resolution I have for Bojan Bogdanovic: provide a first-round draft pick for the Detroit Pistons. That's all I need. That's all I need from Bojan. Bojan is already a vet. I'm not going to sit here and try to tell him to change his game. You need to get better at this. He needs to get better at that. He's a veteran. This is who he is. He's not. Things aren't changing. All I have for Bojan is your goal: play good enough, continue to play at this level offensively to where a contending team or a team wants to give the Detroit Pistons a first-round draft pick, and Troy Weaver gets another first-round draft pick. That's the only New Year's resolution I have for Bojan. That was the first fun one, though. That's the first fun one we have. I have a few other fun ones. But yeah, for real. I know that's a little bit, like I said, a little bit of a fun one, but I'm being for real. Like, all I want to see from Bojan the rest of the year is play good enough to where the Pistons can trade him at the deadline and get a first-round draft pick out of him. So when we come back, we'll obviously hit on the rest of the roster. We'll start with Isaiah Stewart, Killian Hayes, Saddiq Bey, the 2020 draft class. We'll start with them. But first, I got to tell you guys about one of our sponsors, PrizePicks. Now, PrizePicks is my favorite daily fantasy option out there. I use it damn near every single day. It's so much fun. I love it. Even when I lose some entries, I still had some fun making the entries and watching it play out. I love PrizePicks. I know you will too. For example, you can just go and take, let's say the Pistons are playing tonight. So let's take the over on Jaden Ivey's points. You can take the over on Jalen Duren's rebounds. And then you can go across sports to the NFL in this Bills game that's playing tonight. And you can take the over on Josh Allen's passing yards and the over on Stephon Diggs' passing yard or receiving yards. Put it into the exact same entry and let it roll. You can do that over at PrizePicks. It's one of the reasons why it's my favorite daily fantasy option out there. You pick 2 to 6 players to see if they score more or less than their PrizePicks projection. You can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. No competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. PrizePicks offers projections on any sport that you watch. This includes NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, PGA, college football, men's college basketball, women's college basketball, soccer, WNBA, esports, NASCAR, tennis, MMA, boxing, disc golf, Euro basketball, cricket, and more. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's just that easy. Safe and fast withdrawals currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Download the PrizePicks app or go to PrizePicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports today. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code LOCKEDON. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks gives you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks gives you $50. It's just that simple. Don't forget to enter the promo code LOCKEDON and sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100 at PrizePicks, which is daily fantasy made easy. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, hit that subscribe button, or leave us a 5-star rating on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. Again, I'm going to say this again. I want to hear from you guys what your guys' New Year's resolutions would be for these players. Again, comment section down below or tweet at me over at Kuka Hill on Twitter. I really want to see how much fun or what kind of fun ideas you guys can go with this, or if you guys agree with some of the ones I've made so far. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into the 2020 draft class, which is Isaiah Stewart, Killian Hayes, and Saddiq Bey. So the first one we're going to go with is Isaiah Stewart. Now, Isaiah Stewart has already improved massively since the beginning of the year. A lot of these players have. I know the Pistons haven't won many games. They're losing a lot of games. Their defense is flat out horrific to watch. But individual players are getting better. Individual players look a lot better right now than they did at the beginning of the year. Majority of them. Actually, let me not say majority of them. There's quite a few. I'm sure there's some players that we're not happy with, but there's quite a few players who look a lot better now than they did beginning of the year. And Stu 100% is one of them. He's shooting damn near 40% from deep. It's crazy. I never would have thought that he'd be. Actually, the three-point percentage has ticked down a little bit over the last 2 games. It's down to 36% now because he went 2 of 7 2 games ago and then 2 of 8 against Orlando. So last 2 games kind of weighted down a little bit, but he's shooting really good from beyond the arc, way better than I thought he was. Before those 2 games, he was hovering around 40%. He's playing really well. So what else could he improve on the rest of the year to make me happy? He's already done so much. What else could he do? Well, I have one for you. My New Year's resolution for Isaiah Stewart is improve upon traveling on fake and drives. Now, Isaiah Stewart, again, he's playing power forward now, and he's getting better with the outside shot. But there's other things that come with playing the forward than just shooting threes. You have to be able to dribble drive. You have to be able to attack closeouts. You have to be able to rotate along the perimeter, know where to go, where to be at when the defense is rotating, my goodness, to you. There's all kinds of things you got to do. And I think that the one thing that he is struggling with the absolute most is traveling when he pump fakes and drives and attacks the closeout. He does it all the time. He's really bad with it right now. So, no, I'm not going to go with finishing around the rim. I'm not going to go with, get that rebounding up to like 9 rebounds again. No, I'm not going to go with anything like that. Some, if you guys want to go that route, you guys can. But mine, I'm going to go a little bit deeper. I want to see him improve upon his footwork on dribble drives, because if he can get better at that, he can eliminate those travels. Now, he still has some work on the drives themselves, how to be a little bit more composed. They're really awkward sometimes, but you have to be able to get there in the first place. If you're going to travel before you even get to the rim or start your drive, you're not even getting a chance to try to improve that stuff. So my New Year's resolution for Stu, stop traveling on dribble drives, attacking closeouts, improve that footwork. That's my number one thing for Stu. I want to apologize if you guys can hear my dog barking out there. She is very loud sometimes. But anyways, let's get into the next person. We're going to go with Killian Hayes. And Killian Hayes is probably going to be the more simple one of everybody on this list I've done. Killian's is very simple. Maintain this level of play for the rest of the year. That's all he has to do. If he maintains this kind of level of play the rest of the year, then, everybody will be happy. And we talked about this in the last, actually maybe not the last episode, a few episodes ago, that I think that there's low-key a decision that has to be made in the offseason with this backcourt, because it's getting crowded, and a lot of these guys like the ball in their hands. I just don't know if I'm a believer in all 3 of them, especially with the chances of maybe another guard coming in the draft and Scoot Henderson, or depending where the Pistons draft at. If Killian continues to maintain this level of play the rest of this year, the Pistons maybe trade him in the offseason for something. Maybe nothing crazy or anything, but maybe he continues to play this way. Team sees it, believes he can get to that potential that he had at the 7th overall pick, and maybe they give the Pistons something for him. Or maybe the Pistons decide that, I've seen some of you guys mention this, maybe the Pistons decide that Killian Hayes is a better fit next to Cade than Jaden Ivey is because of the three-point shooting, the defense, the playmaking, the size. I've seen some of you guys argue that too. So I think there's low-key a decision that has to be made if he continues to play like this the rest of the year. But you're not going to get that. First of all, it's a good place to be at, where you have to pick between like three guys if that is what they end up doing. Um, it's a good place to be at, but in order to get to that place, Killian has to continue to play like that the rest of this year, and that's my only New Year's resolution for him. It's pretty simple. Over the last 25 games now, I'm excluding the last game when he got ejected and suspended with against Orlando. He only played the first half. Outside of that game, the previous 25 games, he's shooting 42% from the field, 35% from deep. He's averaging 12 points a game, 6.3 assists, 3.4 rebounds, only 1.8 turnovers a game. Playing really well, and he was having a really good stretch there before he got injured. He started to turn it up a lot over the past month. So just continue to play this way. Everything else will solve itself out, and the Pistons will have a good situation to have to make a decision on. Hey, and again, they could even just decide to bring all three of them back next year if they all play really well. They could just have a 3-guard rotation. But again, a good situation to have that won't happen unless Killian continues to play this way the rest of the year. Next one is Saddiq Bey. This is another simple one, probably. These two guys were probably my most simple ones of the list. Saddiq Bey, I got rediscover your outside shooting and maintain some kind of level of consistency. Saddiq Bey has not looked like the shooter he was his rookie year the past 2 years. There's not been one point where he's looked like the sharpshooter, the sniper that he was his rookie year. Heck, remember, we had a podcast right after his rookie season, or maybe at the end of his rookie season, where James Edwards III of The Athletic was trying to say that Saddiq Bey was going to end up as the best shooter in Pistons history. And we had to come on the podcast the next day, and I went crazy because I thought, there's no way he's a better shooter than Chauncey Billups. He's just not. There's no way. Chauncey Billups is the greatest shooter in the Pistons history. And we went on the list of everything Chauncey, we went crazy with it. The whole episode, I just provided evidence why Chauncey's easily the best shooter to ever play for the Detroit Pistons. But that was a discussion nonetheless. Maybe, in my opinion, a very dumb discussion to try to have. But he was shooting so well that was a discussion people were trying to have. Since then, he has shot 34% and now 32% this year from deep. And what has been really, really concerning is his level of inconsistency. Bryce Simon, the host of the Pistons Pulse podcast, me and him were talking a few weeks ago, and he mentioned how last year, Saddiq Bey had like 20 or something games where he didn't hit double figures. He's a very, very inconsistent player right now who has lost his best, or what was his best attribute his rookie year, which was his outside shooting. So he needs to get that back. I mean, just looking over his last few games, he had a game where he had 7 points, then 11 points, then 6 points, then 13 points, then 28 points, then 10 points. Just a very up and down player. He's been like that throughout his whole career. So he's made some minor improvements, finishing around the rim some. His ability to draw free throws is probably his biggest improvement. It's legit, really legit. But none of that's going to matter if he can't maintain some kind of level of consistency and rediscover that outside shooting that he had from his rookie year. That kind of stuff, if he can get some kind of consistency and shoot better from outside, you will no longer see him hovering or fighting to remain above 40% from the field like he is right now. Through his career, he's shooting 39% over his 3 seasons, 40%, 39.6%, and now 40.1%. Very inefficient. Just if he was just more consistent, that wouldn't be such a big issue, man. So that's my New Year's resolution for Saddiq. Through 3 years, it's going to be a tough one. That's probably one of the toughest ones I've said so far because it's been 3 years now and it's something he struggled with. But, to end the year, I'd like to see him improve upon that and show us reason to believe it's something that we can see him get better at next season and future seasons beyond that. So that's my New Year's resolution for Saddiq Bey. When we come back, we'll talk about some of the, I don't want to say not important guys, but the less important guys like Marvin Bagley, Diallo, Kevin Knox, Isaiah Livers, who's been hurt, and a lot of you guys have forgotten about. Even I forgot about him for a second there. Alec Burks, Kojo, Rodney Magruder, Nerlens Noel, Buddy Boeheim, all those guys. We'll hit on all those guys in this final segment. But first, I got to take us about one of our sponsors, BetOnline.net. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there. From pro football to college bowl season to basketball, they've got it all at BetOnline.net. If you love sports podcasts, you can even find those at BetOnline as well. They're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info. Head to their website today or use your mobile device to learn more about their trends and action today. And if you head over to betonline.net and you click on that basketball tab, they have the favorites for MVP, Luka Doncic. They got Sixth Man of the Year odds. They got Coach of the Year odds. They got championship odds, Rookie of the Year odds, worst record in the league odds. I'm assuming the Pistons might get that. They have all the odds over there for everything basketball-wise. And even with the football season, NFL season coming to a close, you can look at the odds for the MVP. Look at the odds for Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Aiden Hutchinson, Offensive Rookie of the Year, all that kind of stuff you can find over at betonline.net. Again, head to their website today or use your mobile device to learn more about their trends and action today. BetOnline, where the game starts. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, hit that subscribe button, or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. So let's get into these final players with the New Year's resolutions. Again, I'm going to remind you guys, I want to hear from you guys. What are your guys' New Year's resolutions for the Pistons, for these Piston players? Let me know. You guys know where to find me on Twitter at Kuka Hill or in the comment section of this YouTube video. All right, so Marvin Bagley, let's start with him. His is relatively simple too. Remain healthy and expand your game. He's relatively the same player that he was last year. He's gotten a little bit better from outside, but it's been I don't even want to say he has gotten better from outside because it's only like once every few weeks, all of a sudden he'll hit 2 threes in a game. Just remain healthy. I know he's been, he dealt with a sickness, non-COVID sickness, last week or a week and a half ago. He started off the year with an injury. He's been injured a lot throughout his career. So for the rest of the year, just remain healthy and try to expand your game, whether that's, outside shooting from 3, maybe a mid-range jumper, whether that's defensively, getting better defensively, better in drop coverage, more consistent on the boards, just somewhere expand your game to where you're not just a lob threat, a guy who's an elite finisher around the basket. Now, while that's incredibly valuable, you have to provide something else to make yourself a valuable player. So expand your game, find something to get better at, to add to your game so you can become a legit valuable player to a team in a rotation. Next player is Hamidou Diallo, who, look, he's played really well the last few games. I had some of you guys you've been so hard on Hamidou Diallo. Where's the episode talking about Diallo? It's the weekend. It was New Year's. Of course I wasn't going to record during then. Come on, guys. And also, for New Year's, I went out with the wifey to downtown Detroit, so I didn't watch the last game until the next day, so I didn't get to see it. But he has played better the last few games. The last 3 games, he's been in the rotation. He is averaging 11 points off the bench, shooting 60% from the field. My New Year's resolution, and let me just say this real quick before we move into his New Year's resolution, he should continue to get minutes until he struggles, and they go back to Kevin Knox and give him a chance. Just like they did with Kevin Knox. Once he struggled, they give Diallo a chance. So Diallo should continue to get minutes over Kevin Knox. My New Year's resolution for Diallo the rest of the year is to play defense by moving your feet and not with your hands. Hamidou Diallo is one of the most handsy defenders I've seen in the league. A lot of his defense, and it's why he's a poor defender, he plays with his hands. He's constantly reaching. He's constantly touching guys. He's constantly trying to get in the passing lanes. Instead of shuffling and moving your feet and trying to stay in front of you guys, he's constantly trying to swipe at the ball. And it was a few games ago. I don't remember what game. It might have been Luka or – actually, no, it wasn't Luka. It was a lesser player. It wasn't some fantastic player. I forget who it was. They ISO'd against Hamidou Diallo, and they just gave him a little combination. And Diallo was all over the place, stumbling all over the place because he just kept reaching at it instead of just trying to stay in front of him. That's his biggest issue on defense. Now he needs to stay, more attentive on off-ball defense. But if he just moved his feet, and the type of athlete that he is, and stayed in front of guys, and then knew how to be a little bit more disciplined with his hands in the passing lanes and when poking at steals, he would be a better defender. And that's my biggest thing for him. I was going to say, improve outside shooting, but that's not going to happen. He is who he is. Play more within yourself offensively. No, because then that kind of takes away from what Hamidou Diallo can bring you when he's kind of chaotic, when you're lacking energy. That kind of thing really works some games. So the one thing I'd pick is just play defense by moving your feet. Play a little bit smarter defensively. That's the biggest thing for me. I want to see from him the rest of the year. Kevin Knox. His New Year's resolution for me, take back your rotation spot. That's the goal for him. That should be his goal. Whenever Diallo struggles and they give Knox his next chance, take that chance and don't give it back again, because he was playing really well for about 16 games there for the Pistons. He struggled for about 2 to 3 games, and then he lost his rotation spot. So when he gets his chance again, whenever that happens, take it back and keep it. Continue to shoot well from outside. Continue to be engaged defensively. Continue to be active on the boards. Continue to play well how you were playing during those 16 games, and keep your rotational spot on the Detroit Pistons. That should be his goal. Maybe not keep his rotation spot. Get his rotation spot back and then keep it. That's his New Year's resolution for me. Isaiah Livers, his New Year's resolution is get healthy and provide wing defense. He is the only wing on the roster that can play defense consistently, who knows how to play defense, it seems, and wants to play defense. And you have missed him tremendously on that side of the floor, because the Pistons defense has been utterly horrific, and he would at least help somewhat defensively, because again, he has size, he has sneaky athleticism, he tries defensively, he's a really smart defender too. So they've missed him more on that end than offensively. That's his New Year's resolution for me. Get healthy and give the Pistons some wing defense. Alec Burks' New Year's resolution for me, lead the bench to being the best bench in the entire league for the rest of the year. I believe they've been the best bench since like November or December 8th or something. Like, it's going on like a month and a half now when they've been like the highest scoring bench in the league. Continue to lead this bench, and by the end of the year, look back and say, we were the highest scoring bench in the entire NBA. I think Alec Burks can do that. He's going to be the one leading it. He's been fantastic for the Detroit Pistons. I can't believe he's been this good for them. I think he can do it. And then for the final 3 guys, all of these are going to be fun ones right here at the end of the podcast. I think you guys are going to enjoy this. Corey Joseph, stop playing minutes. Stop taking minutes from everybody. Rodney Magruder, keep the seat warm on the bench. And Nerlens Noel and Buddy Boeheim. Who again? Those are my New Year's resolutions for those guys. I had to come up with some fun ones for those guys. I wasn't about to come on here and be like, oh, Kojo, improve as a defender on ball, point of attack defender, or hey, Rodney Magruder, all of a sudden make a leap in your 9th NBA season, whatever he's in. Oh yeah, Buddy Boeheim, take some people's minutes, even though people are saying you might be the worst 2-way player in the entire NBA. Oh, Nerlens Noel, your New Year's resolution was even before the year. You said you wanted to be Defensive Player of the Year. Do it, man. Do it for the rest of the year. Like, I was about to come on here and do that for these guys. I don't think half these guys, a lot of these guys may not even be on the roster by the end of the year. So, like, I decided to have some fun with those ones. So that's all I've got for you guys today, though. I really do want to hear your guys' New Year's resolutions, though, for these guys. Let me know in the comment section down below or over on Twitter at Kuka Hill what your guys' New Year's resolutions for the Detroit Pistons and their players for the rest of this season. Again, that's all I've got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this game against Portland. Hopefully by the time you guys are listening to this, the Pistons had won this game. We'll see. It starts in about an hour and a half. So I'm going to go get ready for that. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. Hit that subscribe button at the YouTube channel. Leave a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this on. The next episode, we will recap this Portland game. Stay tuned for that. I'm not skipping over the Portland game. We will review it in the next episode, so stay tuned. But until then, I'll see you guys later. Stay safe, go Pistons, and peace out.